This video has the potential to be extremely valuable for you if you can get past the fact that you're listening to this dumb kid in a purple t-shirt in his parents' house with a PlayStation behind him telling you about suffering and how to end it. If you can just put that aside for just a moment and actually listen to what I'm saying, just be open-minded, this video is going to have a lot of value for you. The first thing to understand about what I'm sharing is that this is based on my direct experience. This isn't just stuff I've made up. This isn't just stuff I've read in a book. This is stuff that I've actually experienced and understood myself. That's the second thing to see. The third thing that's extremely important to understand is that the antidote to suffering is in understanding why we want to get rid of it. Because in looking to get rid of it, we find more suffering. So the question is, why do I want to get rid of it? Once we understand why we want to get rid of it, we won't want to get rid of it. And when we don't want to get rid of suffering, suffering disappears. Why does it disappear when we don't want to get rid of it? Because suffering is resistance itself. So if we find ourselves wanting to remove suffering, that is the essence of suffering. That is literally a naked flame of suffering. It's just pure essence of suffering is suffering that wants to remove suffering. That's literally what it is. So anytime that we've suffered, it's because we are resisting an internal state. Something we're experiencing, we fundamentally don't want to feel it or think it, or we don't want it to be there. What happens then is that usually we look out to the world to tell us what should make me happy or not. Does this make me happy? Yes, it does. Okay, there it is. Does this make me sad? Yes, it does. There it is. And we constantly go back and forth, letting the world tell us whether we should suffer or not. Does this thing Does this thing I like happen? Yes. Happy. Did this thing that I don't like happen? Yes. Sad. We go through sad and happy, just depending on what the world is. It's like being at the beck and call of everything else in the universe. So what we're actually understanding here is that the only time that we could suffer is in the resistance to our experience, our direct experience, our internal experience. We can resist an external experience. I don't want the dog to suffer. I will go and help the dog. That's a resistance on the external that we don't have to necessarily suffer from on the internal, because we accept, I don't want the dog to suffer. I accept that. I don't accept the dog suffering, but I accept that I don't want it to suffer. I'm going to do something about it. You see? That's a form of acceptance. That's not a form of resistance, even though the thing we're resisting is external. It doesn't matter what we resist on the external. What we're going with here is what we resist on the internal. And usually we let the external tell us what to resist on the internal. And we constantly resist anything that we seem to not like. So what we're seeing here is suffering is resistance to an internal state. When we resist our internal state and realize that we are resisting our internal state, we then go, oh, I'm now conscious that I'm suffering. How do I remove the suffering? This is another mistake to make. It is the essence of suffering to want to remove itself. So the next question that we ask, and I'm going to ask you this right now, why is it that you want to remove suffering? What about the suffering wants to be removed? Just ask that. What about my suffering do I want to remove? Well, I want to remove it because there's something uncomfortable about it. There's something that hurts. There's something that it just doesn't feel right. Okay, beautiful. What doesn't feel right that should feel right that isn't currently there? I don't know. The discomfort of it doesn't feel comfortable. Something's telling me, and then what you do, you'll go back to like something doesn't feel right, but that's a thought. What about the suffering? Not the thing you're thinking, the suffering of it. Why do you want to get rid of that? What's uncomfortable about it? It kind of feels sharp. It feels like there's something there that I actually want to get rid of. What? What about the sharpness? If it's sharp, that's like a knife. If someone is putting a knife in you, it'd be very different to this sensation, right? You'd be in hospital. Okay, yeah, fair enough. Like, it's not really sharp. If it was sharp, then it would be like a knife, and knives are sharp, and that's not quite close to what that is. So what we see is that we've wrapped up a load of concepts. Our suffering is layered. with concepts, and our experience will appear in the way that we choose to perceive it. So I can either see the rabbit or the duck. If you've seen that optical illusion, it's like an image of a duck, but if you like turn it upside down or see it in a different way, you can see a rabbit. You can choose to see the rabbit or the duck, depending on literally which one you choose to see. The same is with our suffering. If we choose to see it like a sharp, heavy, tense, dense emotion, then it will appear as so. But the question is it actually a sharp, dense, tense emotion that's sharp and deadly and it's going to kill you eventually? No. So what happens is the layers that we've created are there to prevent us from feeling it. The layers that we've created, they're there to say, it's sharp, it's dangerous, I shouldn't go there, it's dangerous to look at it. This is all reasons to perpetuate our own suffering, because the separate self is made of suffering. And when we believe we're separate, that is what creates a perpetual sense of suffering, because if we lose that, we lose ourself. If we lose ourself, we die. And this is basically the survival of the separate self. So what we need to do is to be completely okay with our suffering. That's the first thing. We're going to give ourselves the freedom to suffer. This is a magic trick. It really is. Once you give yourself the freedom to suffer, this is the first step. You're going to give yourself the openness to stop wanting to get rid of what you're feeling. Then the next question is, why did you want to get rid of it to begin with? What was it about your suffering that you wanted to get rid of? Then you go back to what you were just talking about. Oh, the discomfort. What's discomfortable? The thing, this thing. You realize it's not. You're adding these layers just because you wanted to previously get rid of it, but now you don't want to. Now you realize getting rid of suffering creates more suffering. So you give yourself the freedom to suffer. You start to explore the actual sensation you want to get rid of. Now, usually, most people's suffering is caught up in a lot of thoughts. So basically, there's a lot of suffering, and then in the suffering, there's a lot of thoughts that come with that stop you wanting to basically do this investigation, which is to check why you want to get rid of it. So we could think we want to come at it with the potential of, I might want to get rid of the suffering. Maybe it's necessary, but I don't know yet because I've never really looked at it. I've never really checked to see what's going on. So we're going to be open like this and check to see what's going on. Now, a lot of thoughts may come, oh, but this is this suffering. What's the suffering? It's uncomfortable because this is like when my childhood, when this thing happened, or when this person left me, or when this person abandoned me. And we start going into thoughts. The abandonment that happened when we were a child is not the current experience that we're having right now. That's a thought. That's something that we're using to pull ourselves away from actually looking at this suffering. Because we fear that if we lose the suffering, we're basically going to die. That's what we actually think unconsciously. So go to the thing that's making you suffer and understand why you want to get rid of it. Once you peel back these layers, okay, the thought about being abandoned as a kid, yeah, that's something that's not really happening now. What's happening now is this, whatever's going on. It's not really sharp. It's not really this and this and this, and it's not really tense. Tense is like what? If it's tense, something must be tensing it. What's tensing right now? Where's the border between the start and the end of this sensation? It's not really there. It doesn't really have a shape or a size. What we realize then, it's actually a neutral sensation, just like anything else that we feel. It's completely neutral. It doesn't have like an edge that's like a knife that we cut things with. It's not like that. It's actually a neutral sensation. And we realize, oh my gosh, all these layers of concepts were actually just preventing me from wanting to see it. Now I see it, there's nothing to get rid of. The things that I thought I needed to get, reasons I want to get rid of it, aren't really reasons at all. They're just made up things that I've made to stop me seeing it. Now I see it, I don't even want to get rid of it anymore. There's no reason to. It's not doing anything to me. It's actually fine to be there. And then we realize, okay, so all the things I thought were uncomfortable weren't really uncomfortable because they didn't really exist. They were just ideas that I had in my head that stopped me wanting to feel it. Now I feel it. There's actually nothing wrong with it. Now at this stage, don't think, so why isn't it gone yet? Because the minute you think that, You've gone back into, I need to get rid of the feeling again. You've gone right back into it. What? Okay, so I just said if I see this and if I don't want to get rid of it, then wouldn't the feeling go? No. Because we don't need to get rid of the feeling, remember. The reason you want to get rid of the feeling is because you weren't looking at it. So just go back again. Okay, why do I want to get rid of it again? It's because of this. Then what we find is that there's no reason to get rid of it anymore. Then we stop wanting naturally to get rid of it. So this is an approach that doesn't usually, if we have an agenda with our emotion, it's because we want to get rid of it. But the trick we're going with here, the thing to see very clearly, is that we're actually being open to the possibility that there's a reason to get rid of it. That's the prerequisite. Then that brings us to openness. Then the only agenda that we have with it is just to make sure it's worth getting rid of. So we're not doing my agenda, I'm going to feel it so that it's healed. Let me heal it by my feeling. No. We're not doing any of that stuff. You've probably been doing that for a very long time and none of it's worked. Obviously, you wouldn't be watching this video. So that stuff doesn't work because there's an agenda with it. It's a preliminary, provisionary fix at best. But this isn't a fix. We're not fixing anything here. We're realizing nothing needs to be fixed. That's the ultimate fix, is to realize nothing needs fixing. So from that point of view, you just re-engage this whenever you're going through suffering, whenever you're feeling an emotion that's challenging. Now, sometimes this is too sticky. Too many. Remember I told you all the concepts and thoughts that are preventing you from looking at it? Sometimes for people, there's so much trauma that the mind has like wrapped up this sensation in like 10,000 things. That is what therapy is for. So this isn't an approach for people who need therapy. Therapy is there for people who need therapy. This is not an approach to subsequent the necessity for some people to actually need therapy. This is not that. This is on a level of my mental health is okay. I'm not in a deep, dark, lonely depression that, only God is going to get me out of by pulling me up with his hand. This is an approach for people whose mental health is obviously somewhat okay. Your day to day, you're okay. This is a level of, on another spectrum. Therapy's therapy, this is this. Therapy, if you need therapy, you're not going to be able to do this approach because the amount of thoughts that you'll have to go through will just keep repeating and repeating and repeating. You have to go a little bit deeper. This is an approach for people who have done the therapy, yet still find suffering. This is that level of approach. I have a free community. I can give you any advice that you like, anything that you need. The link is in the description. I do coaching sessions every 2 weeks. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. I'd love to see you there. Have an amazing day. Take care. Bye.